and I came to know that the the participants are from different departments and the fields. I mean, botany, zoology, biotech, food science, and all. Uh, so here, my topic of presentation is on sustainable use of bioresources, possibilities and responsibilities. So here, it's a very vast subject to discuss on, and very difficult to talk on this topic in a given time. 1 hour, it is very much difficult. There are good number of avenues and fields of bioresources. I restrict myself to very few of the topics and narrow down to the biodiversity and the sustainable use, and also what are the rules, regulations, acts which helps to protect the bioresources and the biodiversity, that today I am going to address you all. So with this, I directly move on to the slide. As human beings are from the down the ages, human development starts with their close association with the bioresources. We were from stone ages to till date. There has been an evolution. Man was living in a forest and started gradually, in the name of civilization, shifted to the urbanization. So during all his evolutionary saga, he has been closely associated. He has been closely associated with the bioresources since the time immemorial. He was in the deep forest. He was using all the resources of the forests for his livelihood, for his medicine, for his clothing, and for his other various requirements. So such intimate human nature association led to the shifting from rural to urban society. So that shifting from rural to urban society has taken a central position in human culture and economy. It is not just shifting from rural to urban, it has taken central position for economy also. So history of human development, it's a very long story. I will not go in detail about that. So what are the bioresources? The definition of the bioresource is the bioresources are broadly known as, and please you shift to the next slides. Introduction. So bioresources are broadly known as any resource obtained from the biological origin or in nature, or which are derived from the biological origin, or which are derived from the nature itself. Or it can also be said any materials which are generated and process that are naturally, sustainably renewable and biodegradable is called as a bioresources. So we think that just plants and animals which are domesticated for our purposes are the bioresources. It also encompasses the agricultural crops, food from the forestry, foreign resources, common and aquatic weeds, byproducts, and waste from the agriculture and industries are also comes under the bioresources. So that we'll go in detail about what are other bioresources apart from the plants and animals, and how we have been utilizing it. So these bioresources have made a great impact on the society, on the environment, and the economy. So just before going in detail about their usages and possibilities and responsibilities of the human being, how it has made an impact on society and environment and economy, just I'll address you. So success of any technology depends on how it meets the expectations of the society. We have a lot of expectations, and accordingly the technology has to be developed to meet the needs of the society. So major need of the present generation is biofuel technology, because that is the very growing subject and area that can create the or that can generate the jobs, maintenance of equality, sustenance of use of land and water. So in such areas, none of the regulatory authorities in the world has clearly set any guidelines or a criteria for social sustainability of this field. So that's why it is a major area and we are not able to control it. It's a booming area, the biofuel technology. If you take the examples of Africa, which has shared 30% of land acquisition affected the local people for livelihood. It may be any class of people, different class of people, gender and ethnicity. What I mean to say is Africa has utilized 30% of its land for growing the biofuel technology plants, and that led or that made an impact on the people of that area or that locality, irrespective of the gender, class, and ethnicity. Contrary to that, that has increased crop for biofuel production and also has increased the productivity, created the jobs and unfair wages, low wages to workers and their exploitations. So therefore, take the involvement of the stakeholders and the social thinkers to make it sustainable one. One side, we are taking land acquisition and making that land unavailable for agricultural purpose. On the other hand, as the huge number of industries are coming for biofuel technology, there is a competition for productivity. The jobs which are created also getting more, and people are also more. As the competition is more unfair, that leads to unfair wages, low wages to workers, and their exploitation also happens. So there are two contraries which we face today as a social impacts in the biofuel technology. Similarly, in environmental impacts, if you see environmental impact, uh, this is a social impact, how society has got impacted because of the biofuel technology. And second, the another one is European Renewable Energy Directives has made mandatory in 2009 that 10% of the biofuels has been targeted by the year 2020. By year 2020, they have to use 10% of biofuels in the fuel. So because of that, undisturbed land in rainforest, peatland, savannas, and grasslands converted to production of the biofuels. Just imagine adding 10% of the biofuels in the fuels uh, has so much of impact on the rainforests, peatlands, savannas, and the grasslands, which are converted to production of biofuels. And that resulted the biofuel carbon debt, particularly countries like Brazil, USA, and some countries of South of Asia suffering from this. So what is this biofuel carbon debt? In fact, that is the biofuel carbon depth is increasing 17 to 420 times more carbon in environment than any annual greenhouse gases reductions that occurring due to the biofuels. So what for we go for all this renewable energy to reduce the greenhouse gases emissions. For that, we are going for biofuels. But in turn, contrary to that, because of overproduction, because of conversion of such lands, peatlands, rainforest, and all, the biofuel carbon depth is happening, increasing more amount of carbon is released in that is 17 to 420 times. So what I mean to say is there should be a sustainable usage of the land for production of the these biofuel plants or the feedstocks. So this is the environmental impact, and another one is economic impact. What is the economic impact? Sorry, social impact and economic impact. Economic impact is here, the economy of many countries is based on either the small or a big way of agriculture, moreover the economic status of the farmers also. So agricultural crops serves as a raw material for industries like food industry, oil industry, and its related dependent industry and food processing industry and so on. So example, if you take the Brazil has the world's largest producers of the ethanol and the biodiesel sugarcane. So this starts the negative impact on the food crops as people concentrate only on the commercial crops and the lucrative crops. Because sugarcane has become a raw material for production of the ethanol and biodiesel, and people just concentrate on such lucrative and commercial crops. If that is the case, what about the food crops? People just forgetting about the food crops that needs the basic need of a human being. So that's why that has hit the economic. This is the economic impact. So if you see all the three cases, there is no sustainability. One side we are concentrating economy, other side we are concentrating society, other side we are concentrating just environment for production of the biofuels for the economy and for the society. So to avoid this impacts, we have to go for sustainability. So what is sustainability? Combining all this economic, societal, and environmental, combining these three gives a sustainable one. So overproduction of anything in the nature destroys the environment. Overexploitation is destroys the environment. So therefore, it is believed that bioresources are the those factors that are directly or indirectly responsible for present and the future socio-economic evolutions. Bioresources are directly, indirectly responsible for the present and the future socio-economic evolutions. So we have to be very much cautious. All the countries which are developing their socio-economic status is very, very essential for the development of the country. So sustainable development is very essential. So why the focus is on only bioresources? Bioresources, as I said, which does not include only plants and animals, it also includes the byproducts or waste which are generated from the bioresource plants and animals. So bioresources can be feedstocks, and that also there are bioproducts which are useful for non-energy products. Bioproducts which are useful for non-energy products derived from the bioresources. It can be vegetables, foods, whatever it is, which are bioproducts and biopowers. Here, the biomass power systems that use biomass feedstocks instead of the traditional, that is, a fossil fuels, natural gas, oil, or coal to produce the electricity. That is a biopower. And biofuels, here we are using the liquids and gaseous fuels derived from the biomass, which substitutes for the petroleum products such as gasoline and the diesels. So all these bioresources, biopower, biofuel, leading to the bioeconomy. So what this bioeconomy addresses, this encompasses the primary production through the various sectors like agriculture, forestry, fisheries, agriculture, and all other industries, which are including the food, feed, pulp, paper industries, chemical, biotechnological, energy. So all these bioresources and the power, biofuel, all heading for the bioeconomy. So what this bioeconomy and how to achieve this bioeconomy and how to achieve the concepts of sustainability, that needs the sustainable development. So what the sustainable development need for sustainability is due to increased use of chemical and toxic substances or the resources what we are using, or we can say it's exploitation. Absolutely, it's exploitation of the resources by the human greed. We are acting God. We are using resources without keeping it for the next generation. And the chemicals and the toxic substances. And the emerging industries are also concentrating only on the economic aspects, only on the developmental aspects, not on the society and the environment. Even overpopulation. This is the root cause for all the problems. Overpopulation is the root cause for all the problems. We are not able to achieve or reduce the population in India and South Asian countries. That is the biggest challenge for India to control the resources and manage the resources aptly and go for better use of resources. And poverty is another major issue for the sustainable development. And ozone layer depletion is also leading to, because of the overpollution and the overpopulation and the pollution, that is air pollution, all the CFCs, other gases which are released into the atmosphere causing ozone layer depletion, and all these climatic conditions, environmental parameters, that all lead to see these cannot be seen separate. They are all interconnected. They are all interconnected. They are all intricate relationship between one another. Hence, for sustainable development, for sustainable management, all these issues should be addressed. Then only we can achieve the sustainable development. So, to see the futures, there should be intergenerational equity. As I said, we are just concentrating on our own benefits. We are all borrowing the resources of our future generation. We are using the resources of the next generation, our progeny, our children. So intergeneration equity is very much essential to maintain the sustainable development and to sustainable management. And environmental protection is also a very important parameter. If we protect, then only we can pass it to the next generation. Use and conservation is also very much sensibly we have to use and conserve the ecological resources and the bioresources. And precautionary principles and polluter pay principles. This is most important. The person who pollutes it has to pay the fine, has to compensate the. Of course, we cannot compensate it in terms of ecology. At least we can minimize or reduce the pollution load, and that can be substituted to minimum extent. So that is a polluter pay principle, and maintain balance in ecosystem to maintain the or to have the sustainable development. So this is about the bioresources. This is about the bioresources. So what are the opportunities or the possibilities? What are the bioresources? How best we have been using, and we are using so far till today and in future. So there are different types of bioresources. If we classify or categorize into two types, one is primary bioresources, which is used for or produced for specific objectives to achieve the purposes of the human welfare. Agricultural, crop, forestry, marine bioresources are considered the primary resources are the byproducts or the waste. Mainly, it can be agricultural waste, industrial waste, societal processes. There does not used or compete for land, and such land cannot be used for the other purposes. Means secondary resources do not use the land, or they do not compete for the land for production of these secondary resources. Hence, if you take the examples of straw of the plant and corn cob, they are the byproducts or the secondary products or the secondary resources which we are using for the our benefits. So bioresources can be seen or categorized in different, as I said, it has a numerous countless benefits and categorized, subdivided, but I have taken very few here to explain you. One is agricultural crops and the waste. It's a bioresource, and a bioresource generating from the wood from forestry, marine resources, industrial residues, societal residues, residues from the energy provisions, common and aquatic uses. If you take the agricultural crops, food crops, feed crops, fiber crops, oil crops, ornamental crops, industrial and secondary crops, energy crops. We have different types of crops for different types of purposes we produce. Food crops are produced like it may be rice, wheat, potato, carrot, or anything you take, jawar, bajra, all are produced to achieve the hunger or the needs of the all human population. And feed crops are alfalfa, oats, and many other species are produced. Then fiber crops are cotton, hemp are produced. Oil crops are cotton seed, corn, sugarcane, soya, and other oil crops are also produced to achieve the oils and oil cakes and the byproducts of the oil cakes. Ornamental crops are landscape gardening, dogwood, azalea. There are many ornamental crops which are meant for landscaping only. Industrial and secondary crops like rubber, tobacco, medicinal plants, and so on, which are having industries. Even if you take the coconut and other byproducts are also used in the industries, and arachnut and so on. And energy crops efficiently absorption of the solar energy and convert them to the thermal energy for production of the bioethanol, includes the switchgrass, that is a Pinicum virgatum, alfalfa, miscanthus species. So it has fast growth, high yield, does not compete with food production, and ability to grow under harsh conditions. So because of all these reasons, we produce the energy crops. We produce the energy crops. Through this, we can achieve the production of the bioethanols because it grows fast in a very short period of time, gives high yield, and does not compete with any other food producing crops. It does not compete with any of them. And ability to grow under very harsh condition. It can sustain very high temperature and rain also. Because of this, specific requirements and the purposes, we go for the primary sources. And agricultural waste. Apart from this, there are agricultural waste. So this waste may be residues or stem or stalk or leaves or seed pods or plants. And sometimes there are two types of agricultural residues. One is field residues and the process residues. And process residues are husk, seeds, roots, and bagasse and molasses. They are all used as a bioresources. because used in the bio-based products, animals feeds, substrate for biofertilizers, and they are also used for energy by burning. Primary source for burning energy in the rural area. So this is how the energy waste is used, and agricultural waste are used. Next, we go to the industrial waste. If you see the industrial waste, that is also bioresources. There are slaughterhouses and its residues, the flour residues, waste from the food processing industries, black liquor from the pulping industries, waste like peels of potatoes, cassavas, orange pineapple, etc., even oil cakes, high cotton content floral waste. They are all the sources, and out of it, we prepare from the flowers, waste flowers, perfumes. From the other waste, we prepare the cosmetics, food products, liquors, and textile for various applications. We use it for these industrial waste. And even biofuels are also used. The waste of the florals and waste of the agriculture and waste of the other residues, flowers, biofuels are biogas, bioethanol, even the pigments, dyes, food products, sugar syrups, and incense sticks are also made out of these industrial wastes. And next, if you see the other bioresources like municipal waste, here the market waste in municipal corporation, you have seen the market area, market waste is there, yard waste is there, plastics are there, kitchen waste, and garbage, organic sewage waste that can be treated by advanced biological treatments. After that, they use it for and it's a major concern because we are not able to achieve the solid waste management at all levels. We are failing to reuse it to 100%. We are not able to achieve even 15%, 50% of it to reuse or recycle. So it's a major concern in India and even abroad. But because of the huge population, of course, it's a major concern in India. Using this, we can go for a vermicompost, biogas, methane production, and energy sources from the municipal waste. And waste from the fishing industry has a huge applications. Particularly, the crustacean residues has become a major problem. Crustacean residues has become a major problem in the coastal area where the silting of the rivers, mangroves, and forming of the slurry is happening in soiling and ecological, that is leading to the ecological imbalances because of the crustacean residues, and that leads to siltation, and that leads to formation of the slurry, and ultimately that forms a slurry in the soiling. Ultimately, it forms a ecological imbalance in that area. So the crustacean residues are nothing but the carapaces, and this carapace contains the chitin. That chitin is 15 to 20% chitin. The carapace of the crustaceans contains 15 to 20% of chitin, 45 to 50% of calcium carbonate, and 25 to 40% of protein and other pigments. So these crustaceans, carapace, and its byproducts is giving $147 billion worth business, and it is producing a value added products separating this chitin, these carapace byproducts are separated as a chitin and chitosan from the crustaceans. And what are the products of chitin and chitosan? What are the byproducts of the chitin and chitosan? So this chitin is again a crustacean produced or insects produced. It is a polymer. So this appears to be a very amorphous powder, and it can be a crystalline powder, and also it is in extracted form and it is in pure form. This can be extracted by demineralization, deproteinization, and depigmentation from the crustaceans. Similarly, it is important because it is biodegradable, it is non-toxic, and biocompatibility is very high. So that's why chitin is used. And chitosan is also the the part, or it is also derived from the same crustaceans or a carapace. It is obtained from the deacetylation process from the chitin, and it is also a linear polymer. It's an excellent biocompatibility, non-toxic to the humans and the animals. It is non-toxic to the humans and animals. High biodegradable, biodependability, selective permeability, antimicrobial activity, ability to form gel and film, adsorptive ability. These are all the possibilities. These are all the possibilities or advantages of the chitosan. So, what are the products? What are the products or the applications of this where it is used? This is used in defensive mechanism and fertilization of the plants and treatment of water, particularly removal of the metallic ions and reduction of the odor. And even it is used in food industry, dietary fibers, cholesterol reduces, and preservation for the it is used as a preservatives, and also it is used as a fungicide, bactericide, and also uh, coatings. It is also used in coatings, and it is also used in the cosmetic industries. Skin, it is used as a skin scrubbers, and it is also used as a what do you say, acne treatment and hair moisturizer, toothpaste. See the importance and the applications of the chitin and chitosan produced by the crustaceans carapace, and it is also used in the biopharmaceutical industries, particularly immunological, antitumorous, hematological, and anticoagulants, and it is also used in the production of the surgical sutures, dental implants, bone reconstructions, and contact lenses, controlled release of the drugs in the animals and the humans. These are wonderful applied aspects of the medical sciences where these chitins and the chitosans are used. And these are also used in the reconstruction of the bone, reconstruction of the cartilage and the tendons, and the propagation of the differentiation of the inner stem cells. So these are all the advantages of the bioresources of the marine resources, agricultural resources, forest resources, and so on. So next, we move on to the biorefineries. So biorefineries, again, the what biomass or the bio waste, which is or from the bio resources we get, that is broken down into, or it contains the lignocellulosic material, and that is processed through the biorefineries, and it is used, as I said, for the different purposes, which already I said, for preparation of the chitin and the chitosan. All these processes are used. Similarly, the marine bioresources, as I said, I'll not go in detail about this marine bioresources. Even the marine bioresources like marine microbes, marine sponges, marine seaweeds, sea grasses, microalgae, all are subjected based on the requirement for the biorefinery processes through the physical process and the chemical process and the biotechnological processes. We can achieve to get the biomolecules. We will achieve to get the biopigments, bioplastics, biofuels, biopharmaceuticals, biocosmetics, bionutraceuticals. So these are all the emerging subjects which are fulfilling the needs of the present generation for better life and sophisticated life and comfortable life. All biomolecules, biopigments, bioplastics, biofuels, and everything. And apart from this, the marine fishes and crustaceans, soft corals, sponges, molluscans.
Sir, you are able to hear me?
Yes, yes, madam.
Sir, you go with the slideshow of what I am sharing, sir. Otherwise, they cannot understand. You have to tell me next slide. If you are following there, it will be difficult for me to move on.
Okay. So, madam, I suppose now you are on biodiversity, no? Biodiversity slide.
Yeah.
So please
I have to get back or?
Get back, madam. Please get back. Get back, please. Get back. Yes, madam. Okay. Thank you. So just I explained the previous slide more elaborately, which was having this. Okay. So apart from these bioresources, the marine species, particularly marine fishes, crustaceans, soft corals, sponges, mollusks, tunicate, seaweeds, marines, they are all used for synthesis, preparations of the anti-asthmatic, in the medicine field, anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antiviral, malarial, tuberculosis, anticoagulant, antiplatelet, pain relief, immune enhancers, stimulate nervous system. So in all these fields, pharmaceuticals, these organisms are used. Next one. So all these are used. Next slide. So for this, to sustain or to meet the demands of the present generation, we don't have so much of resources, so that continuously we can use it, and that becomes exhaustive in it. That exhausts from the nature. For that, we need to repair, reuse, refurbish, recycle the materials and the products. For that, recovery is very much essential. Recycling is essential. Reuse and the reduce production, distribution, and consumption. Reduce the waste that has to be recycled for all the resources what I addressed so far. Next one. So this leads to the circular economy. So what is the circular economy? What is the circular economy? A system that encourages the reuse, recycling, and refurbishment of the products and materials such that there is a minimum use of primary resources. The aim is to establish environmentally friendly production and consumption behavior by minimizing the waste is called as a waste generation is called as a circular economy. Here we are not using the primary sources. We have to use the secondary sources and refurbished materials for our needs. Next one. So we have seen so far the linear economy. There we directly use the primary sources production we use, and that becomes a residual waste. But whereas the circular economy is leading to the sustainable use, sustainable production, and it is because of the recycling, we can achieve the sustainable management of the resources. Next one. So these are the plant species next which are used as a bioresources. Next. So yes, next. So these are the some selected marker genes where the source of the gene is taken, and substrates are used for selection, and we are using it for different purposes. So a list of cryopreserved plants in various forms. These are the cryopreserved plants which are used for various purposes. And next one. We can also see the plants which are used for various, next one. Next. Okay. Which are used for various purposes, like the previous slides, what we have seen. Different types of plants or products which are used for different purposes: dye, analgesic, anti-malarial, muzzle, vanilla, perfume, anti-cancer, anti-insecticide, insecticide, sweetener, antioxidant, antibacterial, treatment for nausea. All these diseases, we are very much dependent on the plant species and the plant products and the bioresources. So, no. Yes, get that. So far I have addressed the bioresources, which includes the secondary resources more of. So just now I would like to go to the bioresources, that is primary resources, the plants and animals, that is biodiversity. Though it appears to be very basic, but these are also the resources from which we derive the secondary resources. It is very much essential to prevent, conserve, and protect the biodiversity resources. So that is, we have, as you are very much aware, biodiversity, India is a mega diverse nation in the world, and it has 8% of total species of the world which are found in India. Of that, 80% of flora, species of fauna, and 47,000 species of flora, and 10% of flora, 20% of fauna are threatened species in India. Here, if you see, you are aware, we are able to identify so far only 1.8 to 1.4 to 1.6 or 1.8. It is given different statistics or data in different books. But from 1.4 to 1.8 million species so far we are able to identify, and it is expected that 8 to 10 million species are there in nature which are unexplored, which are yet to be identified, yet to be discovered. Next, yet to be discovered. So India plays very much important role in biodiversity, as it is one of the 17 mega biodiversity nations. For your information, India has home to these many species of organisms: 7.6% of the mammals, 12.6% of all avian species, 6.2% of the reptilians, 4.4% of amphibians, 11.7% of fishes, 6% of all flowering plants. Next, and all these species are spread across the nation in different parts of biogeographical regions and in different habitats, in different ecosystems. And India has 4 biodiversity spots. Of them, if you see, one is the Himalaya, another one is Indo-Burma region, Sundaland, and the Western Ghats. So these are the 4 major. We have the Himalayan ranges and the Western Ghats and the Sri Lanka, Andaman Nicobar Islands is a major where we have only 5% of the forest in India, which is truly which is serving the ecosystem services, or which is serving the needs of the whole country. So if you see, next slide, if you see the percentage of the species or the number of species which are expected, and what is the position of the India in biodiversity, or if you see fish, there are 5,749 species, and which stands first, or which ranks first among all the countries. Reptiles, 521 species, position is 5. Mammals, 7th position, 390 species. Higher plants, 18,664, it is position 9th position. And amphibians, it has birds, 9th position. Amphibians is also 9th position. These are just estimated number, and there are many more number yet to be identified, discovered, and explored. It is assumed that, or it is said that, as there are 8 to 10,000 million species or organisms are there in the earth, if we start identifying today in the same space, it will take nearly 500 years to identify all the organisms, because there is a lack of taxonomies, there is a lack of biosystematicians. And by that time, 50% or more than 50% of organisms will disappear from the nature by the time we identify all those organisms with this pace or in current pace. So to conserve them, or for the sustainable management, it is difficult because of the overpopulation or population explosion. Today, the Indian population and world population has exponentially grown. World is 8.1 billion people today, and forest area we have is only 21%, and that too very dense is only 3%, moderate is 9%. And that too, this statistics is also not true, we can say, because we are getting most of the data from the GIS and the remote sensing. All the agricultural fields are also considered as there are arguments regarding that. Agricultural fields are also considered as the forest, and it has taken the data. Truly, India do not have so much of forest areas. So we have hardly 3 to 4% of dense forest, and that is serving the needs of the present generation. For that, we have to genuinely and very cautiously use the resources. And Karnataka has only 38,000 square kilometer forest area. In India, we have 106 national parks, 564 sanctuaries, 99 national reserves, and 218 community reserves. And we are looking now, we are going for the ecosystem services, or we are quantifying the ecosystem services. How much services is rendered by the ecosystems? We are quantifying it. The ISA has done lots of work in quantification of the ecosystem services. If you take the lake, what is the value of that lake? How much productivity is in terms of economy? Suppose 5 square kilometer, 5 hectares of land can produce, it's a worth of 50,000 crores. So that's how they are quantifying the ecosystem services and bringing awareness to the people around and everyone about the ecosystem services and the biological resources. So as I said, I narrowed down my presentation to the biodiversity. What are the threats to biodiversity? Hence, I think I am running short of time. I will go a little bit fast. There are lots of biodiversity threats. Uh, as you are aware, there are wildlife 68% is declining since 1970 because of the development, because of the industrialization, because of globalization, because of all ization have becomes difficult for digestion for us today because of the ization. And it is said that we may encounter shortly the sixth mass extinction. So far, we have experienced 5 mass extinction in different period of time. Last mass extinction was 39 million years ago, and we are supposing or we are nearing a sixth mass extinction if we do not conserve and if we do not live very naturally. Reasons for this population decrease or decrease of the biodiversity is overpopulation. It is a human population, or poaching, or smuggling, or exploitation, climate change, pollution, natural or man-made disasters. These itself are self-explanatory, and it takes a lot of time to explore. Just to give the few next slide, picture which depicts about the yes, biodiversity. There are natural resources. What are the drivers of the change, and what are the benefits we are using it from the biodiversity. Biodiversity gives us the protected lands, it gives us the connectivity, and there are very rare ecosystems and the habitat which are natural resources. We use it for different purposes as previously discussed, and that helps to recreation purpose, cultural purpose, aesthetic purpose, scientific purpose, medical purpose, for our better life, comforts, and it is also giving you for genetic diversity, which is a sustainable one. And also, what to maintain this, what are the drivers which is changing? As I said, the land management has become difficult. Invasive species are also the drivers for change. Pollution is also driver for change, and recreation or reuse, all because of the human interference or anthropogenic activities and other which I previously said. Next, are which are causing the biodiversity threat and threat to the bioresources. Yes, next. Sorry, previous slide. Previous slide. Previous. Okay. If you, as I said, if you see the next ecosystem services, how the ecosystem services, the ecosystem is also includes the bioresources which serves our ecological needs, economic needs, regulating, cultural. So these regulatings are very much important: carbon storage, purification of the water, food control, clean air, fiber, wood, food, water, biodiversity, soil creation, photosynthesis, water cycle, pollination, tourism, health and well-being, aesthetic, recreation. All these are all completely depends on the bioresources and the biodiversity. If we neglect to maintain it, protect it, definitely it will. It's a suicide of a human population. I can say it's a literally it's a suicide. We are committing a suicide. The whole community masks suicide. Next, if we do not conserve it. So what is overpopulation? As I previously said, I will not go in detail. Overpopulation is leading to the habitat loss, and which is a major threat to the wildlife. And poaching is also another habitat. I'll address in the next slides. Overexploitation is another threat. Climate change, which is causing many of the countries are severely experiencing this climate change. Climate change is nothing but the global warming. Many countries accept that there is a global warming, but still some of the scientists argue that there is no global warming. There is a global dimming and the global cooling. Because previous year and some past few years, there is a European countries are severely suffering from the global cooling and the snowfall. So there is a debatable climate change and global warming is a debatable. I will not go in that issues, but definitely there is a climate change. They do not agree that there is a climate change. There is a climate variation. There is a climate variation. So continuous change in the past 10 years, but that past 10 years constant change or increase of temperature has not happened. There is a gradual increase. and there is not constantly it is maintained. Hence, there are arguments and the debates for that global warming. Because of that, climate variations, climate disturbance, all the and the increase in the temperature, glaciers are melting, that leads to increase in the mean sea level and all ecological imbalances of the marine ecosystem and the freshwater ecosystem. Volcanic eruptions also causing a loss of biodiversity in forest area and even in aquatic ecosystems. So it's a big issue. So next is the pollution is also another major threat. Pollution is also another major threat that threats to wildlife. Air pollution, water pollution, other types of pollutions are also playing major role in destruction of the habitat. Reduce the pollution by means of species of animals. Next one. So these are all one part. Another disaster can be either man-made or natural. So far we have discussed that are man-made and the natural one also. How that can be controlled? There are convention like Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species for Wildlife, Flora and Fauna to conserve and protect the biodiversity that can be controlled by ex situ conservation and in situ conservation. Ex situ is in zoos, in situ is in wildlife or in natural habitat. We need to conserve it. Next. So these are the spots where very high amount of poaching activities are taking place. You can see the Asiatic lion, Indian rhino, leopard, red sanders, tiger, tortoise, and other organisms are poached and shot dead, and they are attacked for various reasons. And these are the places where these kinds of animal materials are seized during 2013 to 16. You can see the South India, North India, and northeastern region is also very high, except the West India. So a few examples of the 10 species were worst hit due to the poaching in 1516. The blackbuck. Next slide. The blackbuck, where they have poached 48 cases. Of that, 3 skins, 2 horns, 15 kgs of meat, 1 head, 1 skin piece they have collected. Take the leopards, 97 cases. Article seized 171 skins, 3 skeletons, 1 skull, 1 skin pieces, 14 paws, 31 claws, 19 canines, 104 kg of meat, and 124 pieces of the bones. If you see all this, even the tigers and the rhinoceros, it is exclusive to India. Only 45 cases recorded, 3 horns and 12 suspected horns were recovered, and tigers, 29 tigers were poached, 31 skins. These are the statistics of different organisms, which gives the poaching is still very high and leading to the loss of the biodiversity resources. Next. So you are astonished to see the trading of these things from India. You can see from Mumbai, it transports to Dubai and it transports to other foreign countries through Nepal, through Bhutan, through Myanmar, through Bangladesh. It goes to China, it goes to Middle East country, it goes to Philippines, it goes to Malaysia, it goes to Indonesia and all other countries, Sri Lanka. So this is how the international market or trade, which the transportation they transports illegally across the Southeast Asia through the land, air, and water. All the means, all these poached items are being transported or traded. Next. Next slide. Yes. Sorry. No, previous. So this is the community forest. So how to conserve it? All these poaching and hunting or for commercial purpose, the people have hunted. We are able to conserve the bioresources through the community forest. Through the community forest. So these are the areas we can see the community forest in Punjab, 63,000 areas, Haryana, 24,000, Madhya Pradesh, 62 lakhs, 88,000, Maharashtra, 48,000. So where the community dwellers are present in India. So this community dwelling can lead, and definitely it is a promising point to conserve and protect the biodiversity resources in its conditions along with the human population. Next, so just we can see the amount of illegal trading, which ranks fourth largest illegal industry in the world after the smuggling of the drugs, human trafficking, and the counterfeiting. So, which is estimated 15 billion euro per annum. Narcotics, human trafficking, and counterfeiting products are the first three. Uh, Taking the first three position, the fourth position is the wildlife trade, illegal wildlife trade. According to the recent reports of the United Nations, drug and crime, which is at least 132,144 seizures of illegal transactions, wildlife trades, thousands of species were made across 120 countries in the past decade. It is unbelievable number of the wildlife seizures across the world, 132,000. Even they are transported to the different parts of the countries by hiding it, by concealing it through many means. You have seen recently in Karnataka regarding the nails of the tigers, which were used as an ornament. And not major consumer in global wildlife market. 20% of all wildlife seizures recorded during 96 to 2006 took place in India. Sorry, measures were not observed. Next slide. So according to the smuggling in India report, 2020-21 report, Director of Revenue Intelligence, smuggled out of India are ivory, turtles, and tortoises, and red sandalwood. Lately, there has been a decline in rhino horn trading from India. Rhinoceros horns are reducing, and the country is fast becoming a major hub of the pangolin poaching, trafficking, and trade of tiger parts also seems to be continuing unabated. It is still not able to control the tiger hunting. According to the data, over 9,253 poachers were arrested in different poaching cases during 2012-18, but the rate of conviction was just 2%. This is alarming. This is a very discouraging point. If the persons who are if not convicted, then people do not have means they don't have fear towards the law, and they continue to do the same in near future also. Next. Just sorry, before the rest. So following are the efforts which are taken by, just do the slide. So following are the efforts which are taken by yes, these are the statistics. 37,000 turtles were also seized, and which indicates that the government has seized average 100 turtles every day. So just imagine the amount of turtles which are being cached for various purposes. And in past 200 years, 2,000 cases are registered across India for killing and trafficking the wild animals, which has resulted arresting of nearly 4,000 accused for various wildlife crimes. Number of registered cases are subsequently 18, 19, 20, 648, 1099, 805, 1506, and 1506, 1506, and 601, 1, 2, 3, 1 respectively cases are recorded in India. So next slide. Next slide. So government has taken precautionary measures to, or the government made an effort to conserve this. For that, Project Tiger, Project Elephant, sea turtles, vultures, crocodiles conservation, dolphin, India adopts a 7 also, captive breeding, or all the precautionary measures. So Project Tiger, which launched in 1997, I skip most of the contents. According to 2019 census, there were 2,962 Bengali tigers were there. April 2023 census says 3,167, that is 75% of the global population of the tigers hosts India. And snow leopard is also having, which is spread across the 12 countries of South Asia, which includes Indian regions are Jammu, Uttarakhand, Arunachal Pradesh, the countries like Uzbekistan, Pakistan, Nepal, Kazakhstan, and so on. In India, presently, there are 13,000, April statistics shows 13,647 projects. That means the number of, because of all these projects, the number of the tigers, leopards have increased. And Project Elephant started in 1992, implemented 13 states. Present status is 30,000 in India. More species are found in Karnataka, like tigers. More species are found in Karnataka. In Karnataka, we have nearly 2,800 tiger population and 6,395 elephant population. So, sea turtle project is also another major project to protect the turtles. Implementing agency is Wildlife Institute of India, and which is vulnerable in IUCN list. Hence, they started olive ridley turtle to protect. Crocodile conservation project is also another important to protect the gharials, which are listed as a critically endangered species. For your information, next slide. For your information, this crocodile conservation projects which started in Odisha and other parts, the number has exponentially increased, and that has become a very threat to the nearby population. So much of population they have crossed, or the number of organisms has increased exponentially. Now they want to reduce the population by stopping the reproductive activity of the crocodiles. So that is the outcome of the Project Crocodile. And the Project Dolphin also started to project to conserve the dolphins. And the major threat for dolphin depletion or decline in number is a river siltation, poaching and siltation. 7 is the SABIN, which is South Asia Wildlife Enforcement Act, also started to project the same in 2011. And captive breeding is another major program to protect the animals in its captivity to preserve the wild species. Next. Other conservation organizations which are involved are Wildlife Fund, Conservation International, Wildlife Conservation Society, United Nations work for, to support the global animals, and they work. All these organizations, they work with the law enforcement to prosecute the wildlife crimes like wildlife trafficking and illegal hunting. They also promote the biodiversity to support the growing human population while preserving existing organisms and the habitats. Next slide. So to conserve and protect all these things, the phenology is very much important. What the phenology is, the organisms, they reproduce at particular season. The plants, they flower or blossom in that particular season. There is a host-plant relationship is very much essential for pollination and production of the bioresources or the reproduction of the plants and the animals. So this phenology is very much important. Unless if we do not follow or if we imbalance the phenology because of the climatic changes or because of the long-term weather pattern changes, that will definitely impact the climatic conditions like temperature, precipitation, sunlight, and phenology impairs, and all this complete whole fragile, delicate balance between the pollinators and the plants disturbs, and we are failing to produce a desired quantity of the food crops and other byproducts. Next. Next. That disturbs the food community. Next. Yes. So wildlife, to protect this, we have started the wildlife corridors in India. I just skip on. For birds, there are 4 migratory ways: Pacific, Central, Mississippi, and so on. I skip this slide. Next. Skip this. Yes. Just skip the slides. These are the species which are endangered in India: tiger, rhinoceros, rhinoceros, Asiatic lion, great Indian bustard. Great Indian bustard is endangered and which is cited in Bellary also long back in 70s, 80s. And dolphin, Ganges dolphin is because of the siltation. And lion-tailed macaque is also endangered. Red panda. Yes, next. Asiatic lion, next. And even the leopards. So the population of the leopards, which was 2014, it was estimated 7,900. Now it is 12,852. And the present this year population is just a last month population is 13,837 leopard population in India. So these are the next slide. So these are the different species which are used for or which are conserved at various habitats of the country, Gir Forest, Kaziranga, Kana National Parks, and so on. Next. So these are some examples how the incidences happened and what is the present status. Due to the shikar cheetah hunting, that is shikar is nothing but the hunting, cheetah officially declared extinct in India in 1952 only. In later before last year, we brought it from the Namibia and left in Pench Forest, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. Some died and few are existed. Now one has delivered, only few have survived in a foreign habitat, but they are slowly adapting it. Some of the cases, like what has happened with this actor Salman Khan in 1998 Black Buck case, because of the poaching and other activities, he was punished for 25,000 rupees and a year of imprisonment. Later, he got acquittal. And for conservation of this, Animal Ethics Committee is also working for, because of that, CPCS is exercising, it has made a guidelines not to do any experiments on animals, particularly which are centennials, which can feel the pain. Only invertebrates we go for experimentation, and hence no experiments are done. Under the Wildlife Act, 2054 cases are recorded. Unless and until we understand the fragile relationship between man and wild, we cannot protect the tussle or a conflict of man and wild continues, because we are disturbing the community forest or a social forestry. Community forest, when we, in the name of the laws, in the name of the guidelines, Forest Act, Wildlife Act, and other act, we are sending out all the people of the forest, and they occupy the urban area. They disturb the forest resources because they don't think that it is their own henceforth, and they consider the tiger and other organisms are also not there. They start using the word "your tiger." When the forest department or wildlife department or police, anybody comes from the government representative, they call it as yours. As long as they were in the forest or in a community dwelling area, they call it as it is our forest, it is our resources, it is our tiger, it is our animal. But when you send them outside that community forest, they may call as a your tiger, then that becomes a conflict between the man and wild. For that, we need to have the sympathetic attention towards all forest dwellers and the fauna which are there, and the resources, anything which is useful for the human being and the nature. And best example for this is a Kantara movie. You can see the impact of the human activities, and some of the examples of such things happened. Aditya Singh case, in where 35 acres of land denuded, and they reconstructed it. Last in 21 years, tigers, leopards, nilgai, and small mammals spotted in conservancy area, like Goshala, Ramghar Shekhawati is another example. Raviraj Gopal Singh and his son restored 100 acres of land. It is another example for conservation of the bioresources. So next. Next, there are other agencies or the organizations which work for this is a CBD. So there are three goals of CBD: to promote the conservation and biodiversity, the sustainable use of its components, and the fair and equitable use of the utilization of the these genetic resources is one organization. Apart from that, the Biodiversity Act is also there. The Act says that conservation of biodiversity, biological diversity, sustainable use of its components, and fair, equitable sharing of the benefits arising out of this use of biological resources, knowledge, and for matters connected therewith or identical thereto, is the Biodiversity Act says, and this act has a salient features. What for this Biodiversity Act is. So just I go through the prohibition of transfer of Indian genetic material outside the country without the specific approval of the Indian government is a crime. Prohibition of any claiming that IPR as a patent over the biodiversity related knowledge without permission of the Indian government is a crime. One cannot claim IPR without the permission of the NBA, National Biodiversity Board, and regulation of collection and use of biodiversity by Indian national while examining local communities from such restrictions. It is not just biodiversity, the bioresources too, or the biodiversity or the bioresources, any product or the process derived from the organisms or the plants. And measures from sharing the benefits for the use of biodiversity, including joint research, development, joint IPR ownership is also not allowed. Measuring to conserve sustainable use of biological processes, including habitat species protection of the projects, and provisions for local community to have a say in their use and resources and knowledge, and to change the fees for this. There is a provision for the local community. If they wanted to say about this biodiversity, they have provision to address it. Protection of the indigenous and traditional laws, such as registration of such knowledge, is also there is a provision. People can register their indigenous knowledge and the information. And regulation use of genetically modified organisms, getting the national, state and local biodiversity fund to be used for the support conservation benefit sharing, and BNC biodiversity management committees at local, village and national biodiversity state. These are the provisions of the act. These are the provisions of the act. Accordingly, it runs through. So structure of the Biodiversity Act 2020, there is a National Biodiversity Authority, State Biodiversity Authority, and the Biodiversity Management. I just run through the slides. Next one. This regulation access to biological diversity, and how the persons need to get permissions and they are not allowed. Section 6, what it says. Next. 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 How to process it. And next, Biodiversity Authority headquarters is in Chennai. Next. These are the sections. And state biodiversity also, in each state there are state biodiversity boards which regulates. Biodiversity parks is constructed by the governments to conserve the biodiversity. One of the best example is the Delhi Biodiversity Board that has constructed biodiversity butterfly parks, and there are Yamuna, Aravali, Neela, and so on. It is one of the best examples. It is one of the best examples. And biodiversity park has many functions. It is common. Just next. And biopiracy is another ethical issue, though it is not directly related to the bioresources, but biopiracy is an ethical issue. All the researchers, they should have go for fair use of the resources. Traditional knowledge which is being used by the farmers or any person from the local area without permission or exploitation, cultures they are drawing from, it is called as a biopiracy. You are not supposed to take the knowledge from the local people and claim it as yours. Biopiracy happens when researchers uses or research organization take the biological resources without the official sanction, largely from less affluent countries or well-to-do countries or marginalized countries. So example for this is a neem tea, tamarind, turmeric, Darjeeling have also been patented by the foreign firms for different lucrative purposes. So this is biopiracy. Neem tree is a Indian origin, tamarind is Indian origin, turmeric is Indian, Darjeeling tea is as name itself is saying that Darjeeling is Indian. But other countries have already claimed it, and India fought a lot to get it back as it is Indian origin. So this is all comes under the ethical issues, the biopiracy. So there are good number of biopiracy cases. Next one. Biopiracy cases. Previous one, please. Some of the examples of the biopiracy case which occurred in 2011 about the germplasm of from the against the Brazil for using Mongol bull, and similarly this filed a case against that organization. Next. Another case was Another case was Aruna Rodriguez. That also addresses the same issue. Next. Functions of the biodiversity board. Next. Yes, to achieve all those things, we need to maintain the sustainable development. So, what is sustainable development? It is said by President Rizal. Sustainable development is that to meet the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. So, we have to conserve, protect for our next generation. So, with this quote, I would like to conclude my presentation as no geological event in billion years, not the emergence of mighty mountain ranges, nor the submergence of entire subcontinents, nor the occurrence of periodic glacial ages has posed a threat to the terrestrial life comparable to that of human population, said by Paul Ehrlich in 1970. We are the only organism who are causing a huge uncomparable threat to the nature. And next is another statement made by Mahatma Gandhi. Man has lived by the notion that he has unrestricted license to exploit the nature and its resources. Conservationists are still at the beginning of the battle. People must be re-educated to take a long-term view of the human environment. So we have been trying to act protect the nature, and all the steps what we have taken, been taking, will take in future, that becomes just the beginning of the battle. Long way has to go to protect to protect, conserve, and sustainable use of all the bioresources which are essential for the human welfare and the survivability. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Any questions? I welcome from the my dear fellow colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Am I audible?
Sir, good evening.
Yes.
Majgi sir, myself, Renuka, good evening.
Madam, good evening. Good evening.
Sir, the talk was very informative. I just wanted to ask you one out of the box question. Like when we go to HUD point, especially Kali, there is a lot of, the thing like we think that it is used for pharmacy industry, calcium carbonate. They are using the bivalves. They are left there only. Will it not change the concentration of the water of estuary, which may lead to the degeneration of whole estuarine ecosystem?
Yes, madam, definitely.
I had been there, sir. I have watched it. So I felt you have been working in biodiversity for so many years. I know you personally. So I just wanted to ask you that. Can something be done there? Like you can give a report or do something? Or as a zoologist, we can do something to conserve this?
Many ways. Long step has to take, madam. We are keeping a very small step. A very giant leap has to take to achieve that required goal or a desired target. See, to